Happy Friday, everyone. We got a nice work set today that's going to be on every 3 minutes. So it's going to be a 12-minute work set. We're working on the top of every 3 minutes today for a nice little triplet. Before we get to that, let's talk about our warm-up. Our warm-up is going to consist of a plank to down dog plus side plank for three reps per side. Forearm side plank, reach through for 15 seconds a side into a prone shoulder raise of 6 to 10 alternating reps. Single leg good morning with rotation for 3 to 5 a side. I'm going to hit that for 2 to 3 rounds. From here, we're going to move down to the bottom phase, which is going to be a dumbbell deadlift for 3, sumo deadlift high pull for 2, and a snatch for 1. Working on that nice smooth complex, kind of giving ourselves a chance to really move into that work set. Now with this dumbbell complex, if you'd like to slowly change the reps around like we have in the past, maybe eventually doing more snatches to deadlifts and or sumo deadlift high pulls, that's totally fine by me, but you can adjust that to make it what you need to focus on and bring your attention to. After that, we're going to do a squat thrust to down dog with shoulder touch for 20 seconds, and then we're going to move into a dumbbell thruster for a single arm practice work. So we're going to do 3 per side or 3 to 5 per side, working on that single arm thruster to get that good squat in today. We're going to hit that for 2 to 3 rounds, working on kind of figuring out working weights for your snatch. Maybe if you need a different load for that thruster, that's totally fine. But let's have some fun today. Let's enjoy and let's embrace this every 3-minute work set. All right, you guys, let's warm up a little bit. Let's get those feet under the hips. We'll take the arms big and tall up overhead. We're going to reach to one side. We'll come back over, reach to the other side. Reach up, we're going to scratch our back. Reach through that elbow. We'll come back through. Big stretch up. Scratch your back. Reach through that elbow. Come back to center. A big old stretch. And take it all the way down to the floor, touching those toes. We're going to walk up the shins. We'll come down, framing a foot. We'll step it back into your lizard. Nice and square in those hips. We're going to take the inside hand to the sky. Bend at the elbow. Reach straight ahead. And pull back. Straight ahead. Back and straight ahead and pull back. We're going to reach up. We're going to rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up and then plant that hand and step back into that down dog. Reaching through those hips, setting those good shoulders. We'll come back into our plank as we step the other foot up. Nice and square in the hips. We'll take the inside hand to the sky. Bend at the elbow. Straight ahead reach. Pull back, straight ahead reach, pull back, and straight ahead reach, and pull back, reach up to the sky, rotate, forearm to the floor, come back up to the sky, plant that hand, step back into the down dog. As we reach those hips, we'll come back into that plank, pressing through the floor, tiptoe those feet all the way up. We're going to roll ourselves all the way up to the sky, big stretch. A little shrug, come down with the shoulders, all the way back. Let's get ourselves ready to go. Now, if there's any extra gentle movement you'd like to take down for yourself, please pause the video, take that down now, and we're going to get you guys underway with this next phase of warm-up, which is going to focus primarily around the shoulder and a little bit of core engagement. All right, we're going to start off with a nice little flow of our plank to down dog to side plank. So I'm going to turn profile. I'm going to get myself set up in my plank position with a little bit of space between my feet. Pressing the floor away, I'll pull the ribs in. I'll pull back into the down dog, reaching through those shoulders. And as I come through from my down dog, I'm going to rotate into my side plank. And I'm going to come back through into that plank, pull back into the down dog, and then come through, rotate into that side plank, and then coming back into that plank. So I'm always going to use that center plank as kind of a reset in between my sides to get a really nice good down dog and a really good rotation into the plank, or the side plank. Now if you're looking at that going, Dave, I need a little bit of support for that side plank, that's fine. We can do the same kind of flow. So I get myself set up, I pull back into my down dog, and then I come through, and as I come through, I lower my knee, turn my body into that nice supported side plank. I'll come back through, find our plank, and do the same thing on the other side. So I'll set that position, I'll lower my knee, set that position on the other side, pushing through that balancing arm, come back through into the plank, and then continue from there. So really using that flow, really taking advantage of the supported side plank if you need it. Now from here, we're gonna move into a forearm side plank. We're gonna work a reach through. So with this reach through, what we're looking at is setting up our side plank. So you can take it from the knees or straight legs with that kind of full side plank. I'm going to lift my hips up into that nice kind of neutral plank position, reach my arm to the sky, and then I'm going to rotate slowly through, coming as far through as I feel comfortable, and coming back up. Now this gets really, really spicy, so we want to make sure that we're not rushing through that rotation. So if I'm in my side plank, I'm coming through, I'm really just taking the time to try and get as far through as I can, and then I come back, I open through the balance. So this is not going to be a ton of reps here in 15 seconds per side. You're probably looking at only 3, maybe 4, with a nice controlled rotation. Our next exercise is on our stomach again. We're just going to kind of use this to bring those shoulders back into the equation and get that nice balance upper back position. So I'm going to press into the floor with my toes, pull my ribs in, push the armpits down, and I'm going to set and lift one arm up into that prone shoulder raise. As I'm pushing down to the floor, I'm going to lift the other arm and then alternate back and forth. Taking the time to really set that shoulder position before I lift the other arm so that I can really maintain a strong torso and core position from toe to the top of the head. So take the time, press down, find that position before we lift the other arm. After that, we're going to tackle some upper body rotation some more, but some lower body love. So we're going to use that single leg good morning with rotation. One leg is going to come out just in front, straight leg. I'm going to bring my knuckles to the center, and I'm going to pull my hip back into my hinge. I'm going to rotate low rib towards that knee. And I don't want you to worry if you can't touch the elbow to the knee. I just want you to really focus on rotating to where you feel comfortable towards that knee. And this again is not a fast movement. We want to take our time. We want to make sure we're using that rotation and maintaining good balance and kind of sound grip on the floor. So that balancing leg, that weight is through the midfoot. My foot is nice and flat, not pulling back off of the toes, but also not in my toes for my movement. So find that nice, happy, balanced foot in that movement. As a quick recap, we have a plank to down dog plus side plank. So 3 per side, so flowing back and forth. So that's 6 alternating reps, total count. Into a forearm side plank reach through for 15 seconds a side. Prone shoulder raise for 6 to 10 alternating reps. Single leg good morning with rotation for 3 to 5 a side. 2 to 3 rounds, tackle that down. Come back and we're going to work on a few little hybrid movement sets and some complexes to get you ready for what's to come. Our next phase of warm-up is going to kickstart off with a nice little dumbbell complex. We're going to start off with that nice deadlift. So I'm going to stand right over top of my dumbbell. Now we're going to mimic the snatch motion. So the hips are going to be a little lower than normal and my chest is going to be a little bit more lifted. Plus it's a little deeper down for the range of motion for the first rep. So I'm going to get that good hinge and take my hips back so my body comes down to my knee. Once I kind of get to my knee, I'm going to lower shoulder and hip together so I come down to that dumbbell position nice and square. I'm going to push through my legs, opening up those hips and knees, and then I'm going to take the hips back and down again in that nice square position, really focused on the balance of the feet and that nice strong back position. So one more time, I take it down, giving myself a chance to really feel that push through the legs and that good stand up. Our next portion of this complex is a sumo deadlift high pull. So we're going to move from that just leg drag to building some speed. So I'm going to take it down in start position, push through the legs, build some speed, into that nice high pull, not concerning myself with how much arm is involved, but more concerning myself with building speed through the legs. So I'm allowing that speed to carry into the arm as I take that arm up into that nice high pull position. From the high pull, I'm going to carry it through and follow through overhead. So I take it to the start position, I push the legs, build speed, find that good overhead, that punch overhead, pull it down to the shoulder, and bring it back to my normal position. So again, for the snatch, I'm going to try and keep that dumbbell nice and close. That's where that high pull comes in handy. So as I push the legs, I keep the dumbbell close, continue the momentum all the way into this overhead position. Dumbbell and arm just behind the ear. Come back down and reset. So with this complex, we really want to focus on the deadlift portion, the leg drive, the sumo deadlift high pull, speed on the dumbbell, and then the snatch following through into the overhead position. So as the rounds progress, there's nothing wrong with doing 1 deadlift, 2 sumo deadlift high pulls, maybe 3 snatches, right? So adjust your numbers to give yourself that option. If you're like, you know what, I'm pretty good with the leg drive, I would like to work that sumo deadlift high pull a little bit more, maybe do 2 sumo deadlifts, 3 snatches, who knows? Whatever suits your needs the most to build that movement with the dumbbell snatch to get those legs and hips doing the work. Now our next movement is 20 seconds, just a nice steady flow. And what this steady flow is going to be is a squat thrust with a step back or jump into a down dog with shoulder touch. So what you're going to do, you'll bring your hands down, you're going to step or jump into your plank, pull your hips back into the down dog, touch a toe, come back into your plank, step or jump in, stand tall. And you're going to do that for 20 seconds. So again, you're not going to get a ton of reps because there's a lot going on. The key thing here is that you're just moving good flow, finding those key positions, and not rushing that squat thrust. So there's nothing wrong with like coming through, pop into the plank, hold the hip, little pause, touch, back into your plank, pop your feet in, stand tall. So you'll probably only get about 3 to 5 reps with that nice full flow. So taking your time, making sure the shoulders, the positions are there, and it's just going to give you a really nice opportunity to get into that squat thrust position, plus work on a little bit of single arm stability work, which will pay off really well later on for the snatches in the workout. After that, we have our dumbbell thruster, working on our single arm dumbbell thruster. So if you need a different load for this, you can. What we are going to do is we're going to clean the dumbbell up into our front rack. So we take the dumbbell from the floor into our front rack position, dumbbells resting on the shoulder, my feet are in my regular squat stance. I'm going to stay nice and upright, taking the hip to the heel, get that good squat, push through the legs, drive overhead. Come back in, pull into that good front squat, drive down, pushing up and allowing those legs to do the majority of the work in the press. So we're looking at that same overhead position as in the snatch, but we're working on using the legs, the hips, and that squat to get that drive into the dumbbell. So try and resist the urge of pushing through that arm more than we have to, and really focusing on the legs to do the work. Now this little triplet is going to give you a chance to kind of feel out some working weight, get an idea of where you want to live for the snatch, for the thruster, and then get you ready to move into that every 3-minute work set for 12 minutes. So pause it, take it down 2-3 rounds, maybe a couple more. Maybe give yourself a practice round of the work set that's coming up as well to see how long it might take you with certain loading, to see if you get a little bit of rest or if you're going to be really chomping at the bit to get this done in the 3 minutes. Pause the video, take it down. We're going to talk about what's coming up next. We're going to get you primed and ready for the work set ahead. We've made it to the workout, you guys. The workout today, every 3 minutes for 12 minutes. So that's 4 rounds of work. You're going to take down 6 alternating dumbbell snatches from the hang. So it's a little different today. So we're going to chat about that before we get going. Then you're going to move through our squat thrust for 10. So not a burpee. So no burpee. We're just doing a squat thrust today. So if you're normally doing burpees, this is going to be one of those things you have to kind of keep in your mind so you don't go on autopilot and drop into that push. You're going to hit 10 of those, and then you're going to move into a dumbbell single arm thruster for 16 reps, 8 per side. So it's going to be a nice smooth flow. Loading for this should be relatively moderate loading, but if you want to go a little heavier on the snatch, my suggestion is stay a little lighter on the thruster if you're planning on giving yourself 2 different loads. We don't want the thruster to start to deteriorate and break down and have to put the dumbbell down. We should be able to go pretty steady, moving from that single arm thruster from side to side. Once we're done our single arm thrusters, the 16th one is done, we get whatever time remaining in that 3 minutes to rest and chill. So we're hoping for some really nice interval work here, so you have a chance to kind of breathe, relax, recover, and then hit that work set hard again about the same time as the first round, hopefully, and seeing how it goes. If by chance, though, you have to adjust your rep scheme, adjust your reps a little bit so you can get that work set in with a little bit of rest. Now, the dumbbell hang power snatch. Very similar to what we just did from our warm-up with our dumbbell snatch, deadlift, and our sumo deadlift high pull, but we're gonna go from the hang. So we're gonna take the dumbbell from above the knee. So what that means is, I'm gonna stand the dumbbell up with the deadlift. I'm gonna stand nice and tall. This is where the movement will start. I'm gonna draw the hips back, taking the dumbbell to the knee, and then I'm gonna push the legs into that snatch. I'll come down, switch hands, take it to the knee, and up, and come back into that shoulder, come back through, to the knee, come back through. So I'm gonna work through that nice smooth flow, back and forth, taking that dumbbell from the hang. So not from the floor, but from the knee. If it dips below the knee, that's okay, all right? But we don't want it to touch the floor, okay? So we're trying to use and limit how much leg drive you get and how much time you get to get that dumbbell overhead. So if you're looking at that going, whoa, that's gonna limit my loading. That's okay, it's meant to be a little lighter on the lighter moderate side. So listen to your movement quality and let that decide how heavy you go. We have 6 total count. We'll put the dumbbell down. We're gonna move into your squat thrust. Unlike our complex work, you're just doing the squat thrust this time in the work set. So you will either do hands to the floor, jump, and jump, or you will step into your plank and step up, or any combination of those 2 pieces. So you can kind of choose, step back, jump in, jump back, step in. Whatever's gonna give you the best position possible for that midsection, that's where we wanna live for our squat thrust. Now with this as well, we wanna make sure that we're living up to a few key points of performance with that squat thrust. Unlike the burpee, we don't have to bend the elbow, so we are going to push through those arms, locking them out, so the wrist is stacked under the shoulder the entire time. So that stays nice and stable the whole time, keeping the core tight and allowing those legs to be the dynamic factor in our movement set today. So keep that in mind when we're doing those squat thrusts, lock those arms, keep that upper body strong, and pop those feet in and out. Our last exercise we covered pretty heavily in our last form of warm-up. So scroll back, check out those points of performance, rock that. We're looking for 16 total reps. That'll be 8 on one side, 8 on the other. The only thing I'll mention about that thruster again is with a good front squat will come a more efficient thruster. So really focus on the time in that front squat, maybe even taking the squat a little slower, just making sure that we're hitting that good bottom position so we can get a good overhead position in our work set. Now this workout is gonna get a little spicy, so I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys have fun, but we're looking for consistency throughout the round. So that rest is gonna be optimal. Focus on recovery as you're going through this. And remember, you get a little bit of rest in this one. So work hard, rest hard, hit this for 4 rounds, total count of 12 minutes. As always, you guys, work for quality. We'll see you tomorrow for Saturday. Bye, you guys.